Well, hello, everybody. Thanks and welcome again. Here we are talking about the surrounding communities of Edmonton. And today we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Fort Saskatchewan. It's a booming town north and east of the city. And Jay, how about you tell us why Fort Saskatchewan is worth talking about today?
Yeah, 100%. So this is kind of an awesome slide to start with. People are probably wondering, like, what in the heck is sheep and trains got to do with Fort Sask? Stick around to the end and we'll let you know why. It's a cool little city, and I think you'll be surprised at what you're going to learn here today. So,
Of course, I
first,
feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't start singing Ba Ba Black Sheep.
yeah, no kidding. So, let's just jump right into what everybody cares about the most. It's kind of why we're here, right? What does it cost to live? Edmonton, we're going to go back. If you know anything about our videos, in February, we talked about $474,000 average house price in Edmonton, 3-bed, 2-bath, double garage. So that's kind of the baseline price we're going to talk about. Again, average only. Yeah. So what does it cost for the same style and type of house in Fort Sask? That's the big question, right? $447,500.
Looks like there's a big difference.
Yeah. So it seems to be like this $30,000 buffer that we're talking about.
Yeah, we had the same when we reviewed Stony Plain.
Yeah, Stony and Spruce. So again, though, right? These are just averages, but I think we should dial into what the typical homeowner is looking for when they're reaching out to us. They want a double attached garage, 3-bed, 2-bath. So what does it look like for these prices? So when I thought about doing this, most of my clients that are calling me up are either going to live in the northeast corner of Edmonton or they're going to choose Fort Sask. So Kristalina, really popular neighborhood. I think it's a really good neighborhood that people would want to live in. So here we got a brand new 1,980 square foot home, 3-bed, 3-bath, double attached garage, $559,000. This is a pretty good builder actually too. So this is a pretty realistic and fair price to expect to pay for this style of house. There's more options than just this, of course, okay. Right? So another one that we can look at here.
Yeah, a little bit smaller. We got a different one, right?
Yeah, 1912 square, 3-bed, 3-bath, $569,998. So maybe there's a few more things included. Maybe it has a few extras, 9-foot basement, or who knows, right? But from what we would say, it's like $550,000 to $600,000 is probably a realistic price expectations if you want to buy this style of home in Kristalina, which in my opinion is probably the neighborhood that people would choose before going to Fort Sask.
Right. So these are obviously more expensive than the average in Edmonton, but that's because we're looking at new homes and new communities instead of older, smaller houses, right? So we're going to keep going similar. What does it look like here in Fort Sask for something similar?
Right. So brand new, 1,905 square feet. So comparable square footage, 3-bed, 3-bath, double attached, $489,998. So basically $490, right? So I would say we're back to that $50K split in between the two places. Your money goes quite a bit further in Fort Sask than it does in maybe in the northeast corner of Edmonton as well.
That's awesome. So like if I'm talking to people on the mortgage side, because usually I'm talking to people before you're showing them houses, if they're thinking Fort Saskatchewan or it comes up at all in the conversation, what do we talk about for where it's located?
Yeah. So it's up in the northeast corner. We're up Highway 21 off of Yellowhead. There's a few other ways to get there, but this is the best way. We're seeing Sherwood Park and Edmonton is actually really starting to encroach on Fort Sask, and there's a new subdivision north of Yellowhead and just west of Highway 21 that they're building. So we're starting to see these subdivisions come in between. And so northeast corner, the directions are for driving, I guess, is it looks a little bit further geographically, but we'll kind of dive into that actually. Like, how long does it take to get somewhere inside of Edmonton if you live in Fort Sask? If you do need to go watch the Oilers play, how long does that take, right? Because that's one of the most important things that people care about.
The Oilers, absolutely, right? So you were telling me that, a lot of people who are going to move and choose Fort Saskatchewan, they're going to be working kind of in or around or near Fort Saskatchewan. But I guess if you wanted to get to the Oilers game down at Rogers Place, we pulled these times around 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's not rush hour per se,
right?
But they're pretty similar. It looks like a 12-minute difference. And when we looked at the map, it was from Crystalina. I think it was a lot more like surface roads, stoplights, higher traffic congestion. But coming in from Fort Sask, because a lot of it looked like more highway driving. And
Yep.
is that the big
Yep.
difference, you think?
Oh, totally. Because it's like you can see, it's like 36 kilometers versus 12 kilometers, and one is start stop on lights, right? Crystalina, you're leaving. You
Yeah.
got a whole bunch of lights even before you start heading south towards Rogers Place. Where Fort Sask, you're straight south on Highway 21. You're going to jump in on Yellowhead and then go south on 97, or depends which one you want to take, right? So you're driving 3 times further, but you're highway driving. So it's a huge difference for sure. Most people that live in Fort Sask, though, aren't really commuting downtown or going that often. So it really doesn't make a big difference. West Edmonton Mall, you're going to see that same sort of difference, 9 to 12 minutes, depending on when you're going and how you're going and where exactly you live in Crystalina. Similar commute. So 12-minute difference, drive 12 minutes to save 40 to 50 grand on a house. Would you do it? Most people say yeah.
I would say 40, 50 grand buys a lot of gas and a lot of time. And, if you're getting a really good quality of life and your economic opportunities are even better, why not? Right. So we also talked about how a lot of people choosing to go to Fort Saskatchewan are looking for or are working in or near Fort Saskatchewan. And you talked about, or you told me about the economic opportunity, this new project that Dow's putting in. What are you hearing about that one, or what are people saying?
Yeah, so this is huge, and I think this is going to have a big impact on house prices as well. So it's supposed to start near the end of this year. I think the first one online was like 2027 and then 2029, 8,000 construction jobs. So we're going to see a lot of people migrating in for the next, 3 to 5, 6 years. $11.5 billion investment, 500 permanent jobs. Like, this is massive. So we are going to see a big bunch of pressure coming in. One of the big builders that I work with there, he is doing a ton of legal suites because they're going to have a problem with rental. So I think we will see this housing price change a little bit. I don't know when or how, but we probably will start to see it climbing up and getting closer to Edmonton prices as we go. But for now, there's a lot of security there, especially if you're in, the oil sands related, oil field related work. There's a lot of jobs here, and there's a lot of money pouring in.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, Jay, from that is, if you are actually looking to purchase a home and you want to buy a home that's poised for increase in value, maybe better than some other places, would you say because of all of these new projects in Fort Saskatchewan, that Fort Saskatchewan will likely see a higher rate of value increase than, say, Edmonton as a whole?
Yeah, I think so. I think because of what's happening in Fort Saskatchewan, it just makes sense, right? If you got 500 new jobs, if you had a new job and you're working at Fort Sask, your first place to live would be Fort Sask, right? So yeah, I do think it's going to put some pressure on housing prices. So I like Fort Saskatchewan for this reason alone as well. 100%. Absolutely agree.
That's awesome. So a lot of people end up working in or around Fort Saskatchewan, out to oil sites and whatnot. But also, what's life like in Fort Saskatchewan?
Yeah, so that's another issue. People are like, well, I don't want to move there around a bunch of smokestacks, right? It's actually not true. So the Dow Center is awesome. It's got a FIFA-sized indoor soccer field. It's got an outdoor FIFA-sized soccer pitch, full-size arena. It's got a theater. I can't remember how many seats, but it's a pretty decent theater inside. So there's lots happening just at the Dow Center itself. This Dow Center is not the only other one. They have another one, that's Jubilee, that's getting a big facelift as well. So they're certainly ready for it. Swimming pool. It's got everything you need there. Splash pads. The amount of trails and hiking and all that stuff that's around Fort Sask is incredible because, as maybe you don't know, but it's around a river, right? So there's 80 kilometers of paved trails, natural areas for you to explore, massive dog parks. It's an incredible outdoor space to use, and it's good year round too, 100%.
Okay, so awesome, and of course, Fort Sask is going to have all of the shopping, all the normal things. If you don't need to leave, you don't need to leave Fort Saskatchewan to live your life. if you have to go in Edmonton for the Oilers game, of course, you've got to go in Edmonton. But for otherwise, you're good to stick in and around Fort Saskatchewan all the time with schools and shopping and all of recreational things and whatnot. But what's with the sheep?
Yeah, so I think this is one of the coolest things that Fort Sask does. So it still feels like a small town because they use sheep and they use goats actually as part of their management.
Should we do our drum roll for the big reveal?
I think you should.
Should we do that?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Let's see. Let's find out what the sheep are all about.
Sheep grazes. So June to September. I think it's a flock of about 50 or a little bit greater, couple shepherds, couple sheepdogs. They come in on Thursday afternoonish and they go back out on Sunday. So they do graze an area that people can come in and see them on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then they leave and go to what they call their off-duty grazing zone. The goats are weed management. It's kind of cool. 96 hectares of land. They're down kind of in the harder to reach riverbankish type of areas, right? And they hit that same area 3 times over the course of the season. So they're just down there keeping the weeds away, vegetation down. It's environmentally friendly. It's really kind of cool. It's kind of neat. People enjoy seeing it, and it's kind of weed and lawn management like it used to be way back before we worried about turf management with big tractors and mowers and such, right?
That's so awesome and so cool and so great that Fort Saskatchewan chose to do it in that way. So it sounds like Fort Saskatchewan's a great place if you're looking for something a little bit less expensive, if you're looking for some good opportunity economically for jobs and for work, if you're looking for quality of life with the rec center, with the trails and being out in nature, all of the other regular services are there and you get the sheep. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, I think my takeaway from Fort Sask has always been like people have this perception, especially if you're coming from the east, or you'd think of like the dirty oil field sands or the town. It's not true. This place is awesome, and it is definitely industrial. There is all this work, but as we can see, Dow net zero, it's incredible. It's going to be first of its kind in Canada. So there's this big push to continue to be clean. They have these cool little things with the sheep and the goats, these environmentally friendly sort of grazing practices, weed management. They're aware of if they're spraying stuff close to the river that it's going to go in the river. So they're not choosing to do these things. So it's a really cool little town that you need to come and check out, and definitely you want to consider it when you're deciding to move to Edmonton and area.
So there we go. Fort Saskatchewan is the place to be. Thank you for watching our video today. If you want to see more, make sure you click on subscribe, like this video, hit that bell, and you'll get notified whenever we are publishing new videos, which is happening most weeks. Thanks so much.
Cheers. See you next time.